I've started a new project and I need a controller for it. I'm going to use the electronics out of one of these Coke can RC cars. That's what I used on my last project, this little guy. This is the transmitter for it. The board's buried inside. So I thought I would show taking one of these out of the box and getting that board out of it in case anyone else wants to try it, like if they want to build one of these or any other project that requires a Coke can RC car controller. This is a little bit different than the ones I've used in the past. This one has Bluetooth capability. I got it off AlieExpress. I haven't seen them on Amazon yet, but I'm sure they'll eventually show up. So you can download an app for your phone and drive this around with the app if you wanted to. I haven't tried it, but supposedly that will work. That's what how you can control one of these cars. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use the little controller that it comes with. So we're going to take this out of its can. Some instructions and stuff in there. Here's a little car. It's a cute little car. It slides down this little mount for it. You have a little charging receptacle here. I've already got this batteries in this one here, so I'm just going to use it. First of all, we're going to test and see if this thing even works. We'll charge it for a second. Or I'll show you how to charge it. I don't know how long it'll take to charge it. Plug it in, watching your polarity. That's off. I believe this is supposed to be off. Or maybe it's supposed to be on. Yeah, it's on. Now we got a green light. Charging light. I think it's already charged. The last one was, so let's just unplug it and see if it works. Put that back in there. You want to make sure it works before you even do anything with it, or you won't know if you've torn it up or what. So turn this on and turn this on, and hopefully they'll pair. It's running. Whoops. Steering. We're kind of quick. So if that's what you want to play with, it works. But I don't want to play with this. I want the controller out of it. So it works. So we're going to turn that off. Turn this off. And we'll start taking it apart. If I remember right, there's 3 screws here. There's a little body. That'll be a trash can now. This is the board we're after. Put the screws and stuff in there too. I'm going to zoom in maybe, or try to. Hopefully this will make it a little easier to see, but I got to remember to keep it in frame. There are 2 wires from the motor coming up here. 2 wires from this little coil that does the steering, and they're connected right here. We're going to desolder those wires. Here's the antenna. Here's the little battery. I think it's a battery. 1.2 volt. We're just going to go ahead and take this apart. See, we have to take this screw right here out. If I remember right, this clips in somehow. There's this little motor. Now we're going to take the board out. There's a screw right here. I think that's the only one. We'll see. If there's noise, no, there's a screw right here. If there's noise in the background, that's my furnace running. Can't do anything about it. So now you can see the 2 wires going to the little coil under here, and the 2 wires going to the motor. Get rid of these screws. Before we do desolder these wires, I think what we're going to do, I'm going to demonstrate how it works as far as voltage wise. This is let me get a voltmeter. These are marked positive and negative. Positive is this side, negative is here. We're going to measure across that battery just to show you what's on it. 1.296. But this has like a voltage booster in it, because I don't think this chip runs on that low a voltage. It boosts up the internals for the chip. Now it doesn't boost up the power to the motor. I think I can demonstrate that in just a minute. First of all, we're going to take this battery out. I'm just going to use these flush cutters. Now I'm going to use my power supply to power it. That way I can look at the current and everything. So this is the positive. Trying not to short everything out. This is the negative. My power supply set on. A lot of glare there. Well, it's set on 1.7 volts. I'll just tell you what it's set on. This is more important down here. I'll turn on the output to a power supply. We got to turn the switch to on. We'll turn on the transmitter. Turn the switch to on. The little motor runs. I'm just going to, well, it is what it is. That's at 1.7 volts. I'm going to turn the power supply up to 3 volts now. You can see the motor voltage is now much higher. It's spinning a lot faster. Those gears are not staying lined up. But I think you can get the point. We're eventually, when we use this board in our project, we're going to use 4.5 volts, 3 AAA cells, or 3 cells. So I'm going to run this up to 4.5 volts. This is going to scream now. If I look at the current draw, it's drawing about 160 milliamps. Well, that's the voltage we're going to run this on. I'm going to turn my power supply off now. And we're going to continue the process of using this for our motor. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to leave this one on. The reason for that is when we go to put it in our project, this switch has to be on because we're going to use an external switch. Now I'm going to desolder the motor and the coil and get some of this stuff out of my way. Well, I got my soldering iron heated up. Hopefully this will go well, if I can see well enough. I'm going to desolder the motor here. And then the coils. The coil, it's just got one. And now our little board is free. We'll just throw this in our little trash can. We've got a whole collection of those little motors and things. Now, what would probably be a good idea, this is with charging jack. This little thing right here, these two pins. You should probably try to remove that in your project. I might go ahead and do that now. But you have to be careful when you're desoldering something like this. You'll tear up the whole board. Let's see if I can't do it. The easiest way is to separate, or either just to separate those so you do them one at a time. Something to pull on it with. I don't know why it says antenna there. The antenna's over here. It's that little thing right there. It's not the two terminal thing we're working on. Not sure I had that on. It's very hard to keep all this in focus, especially I'm using a cell phone, so everything's off center. That's one less thing to short out. Now to use it, we'll need to solder our two motors on the motor. Here's the board with side of it's marked. You can see M1 forward, backward. You'll put your one of your motors here, and then RL right, left. They go here. You might think that's positive and negative, but I wouldn't use those. Just hook your wires from the power supply, your batteries, up to here. There are some other terminals on here, but I did some measuring on this when I was building my last project with it. And the voltage rises as your input power rises. The voltage on these pins will rise, and selecting, I believe, forward and back at least will cause a couple of them to toggle, but I can't remember which one, and I'm not going to show that now. On the older Coke can cars, I believe that this was probably, well, on the older Coke can cars, there were terminals that controlled LEDs. This may be what those are, and they just didn't put the LEDs on this car to save money. I believe that's what those are, but I'm not sure. I'm going to get some motors and wire them up here. Well, I have my motors hooked up now. I just went ahead and soldered them on. I'll show you where they're soldered. These are just N20 motors. They are 6 volt, 100 RPM. They look like this. Stout little motors. I have one of them to these two terminals. and the other one to these two terminals. And my power supply, I didn't hook the battery pack up yet because I don't have a battery pack with a switch wired in. So I'm still running off my power supply. The red one goes up here. The ground goes down here. On the back of the board, once again, the positive is marked here. So make sure you get that right or you will burn it up. If your motors run backwards for some reason, either swap your wires here, just put the black one over here and the red one over here, or vice versa. Or you can swap them here where you soldered them onto the board. Either way will work. They'll run the opposite direction. I'll demonstrate it now. First of all, this switch is left on. Try to keep this in frame. Turn on. And then I'll turn the output to the power supply on. This power supply is 4.5 volts. It's pulling 20 milliamps right now. Hopefully this will work. Yeah. Get that tape on there a little better. They're stout little motors. I can't grab it with my finger and stop it. It's pretty impressive, actually. See, what was that? Let me look at the current while I did that. Running right now, it's at 90 milliamps. When I grab it, try to stop it, it only goes up to 110 or so. So, very nice little motors. I think I got these directly from China. So you never know what you're going to get when you buy them that way, though. Sometimes they're great and sometimes they're not. I think that's what I wanted to show, how to get this board out of the car and usable for just a normal 2-motor controller. Like I say again, this was the Bluetooth version of this Coke Can RC car. The older versions with the 2.4 or 27 megahertz, I believe, they had a different looking board in them. It was a shaped board, not this square looking thing. Oh, one thing I wanted to say, let me turn this power supply off. These boards are probably made with lead-free solder, which does not solder well. So when you're doing your soldering, get you some nice leaded solder and go over where you're going to solder things, like clean these off. You can see they look kind of goofy. That's that lead-free solder. I should have put some of my own solder on there, but I didn't because they went on so easy. But sometimes this stuff is very hard to solder with. Well, I believe that's all I wanted to show. I hope this helps if anyone wants to build something like this. Thanks for watching.